मम्मा, एक वाटर बॉटल, एक स्कूल बैग, तो 2 पोनीटेल क्यों? पापा, आप तो बहुत मोबाइल फोन देखते हो, तो मैं क्यों नहीं? मम्मा, मैं मम्मा कब बनूंगी? पापा, मैं 6 इयर्स की कब हो जाऊंगी? पापा, अगर मैं प्रिंसेस हूँ तो आप किंग हो? पापा, हमारे घर में पेट क्यों नहीं है?
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
Hi, I'm Deepak Mehta from UTI Mutual Fund. I salute you all the doctors. You guys are a blessing to our society. Let me ask you a simple question. Sun rises in the east and travels to set in the, did you say west? No, that was the wrong answer. Of course you know sun doesn't travel anywhere. Earth rotates around the sun. We still end up giving the wrong answer. Why? What is that? That's a myth. That's a brum. Do you want to know some very interesting myths about wealth creation? Yes? Do join me this Saturday on 20th March at 7:30 p.m. in the Risk Mitigator webinar series by Mehta. See you there.
Hi everyone, a very good evening to all of you. This is Priydarshan Soni, Marketing Head for Procare AHT, McLeod's Pharmaceutical Limited. Today I am there in front of my favorite audience, the doctors, not for a medical reason. And it gives me a great pleasure because it took around 19 years for me to give a non-medical brief. Let me come to the point directly with one small example. Now, if you remember the past, we used to have test match as the format for cricket, and we used to wait for 5 days for the match to end, and it might not have ended in a win or a loss, but a draw. And then came the one-day format, which actually speeded up faster, made the whole cricket game faster and very interesting. We thought that this was the ultimate format. It went down from 60 overs to 50 overs. And then came the turning point, the 2020. Don't you think the game of cricket has changed a lot? Test match has not remained the essence, the favorite now in cricket. It's the 2020. People are really crazy about 2020. The game has become fast, like the life has become fast. 2020 has changed everything. Not only cricket, it's also about our lives. Yes, I'm talking about the last year, 2020, how it changed the way we are living. Actually, it took the lockdown to make us think inwardly, to make us be with our families, to understand them better, to understand our home better, to understand our roles better. And being scared seemed to be positive this time. We were scared, definitely. We might catch this COVID, and what will happen to my family members. And the scaring part, scared us initially, but it prepared us. It prepared us to be positive. It prepared us, to go an extra mile, to be there, be careful. Yes, I'm talking about the approach that changed in 2020. The approach not only to how to live a life with our family, to how to live professionally, but how to be prepared for the future. 2020 has made us being prepared for the future. And I think when I think of 2020, I think of, greatly looking into the risks that I have in my life and how I would like to plan my actions to mitigate them. Be it finance, be it professionalism, be it my personal life, anything. We at McLeod's got a chance to do something better for the diabetic and the cardiac portfolio also. During these times, we also launched a good molecule that helped the diabetic live a better life, that is Damita, dapagliflozin. The whole word Damita was built up on the theme of risk mitigation. Dapagliflozin, the risk mitigator, Damita. So, as I told you, lockdown also gave us a lot of time to think inwardly, think professionally. So we thought a lot that if risk mitigation is one thing which we want our doctors to think about their patients, and use Damita as a media for mitigating the risk of the consequences that they may have because of diabetes or heart failure, we thought that let us take the risk mitigation into our lives and your lives also. And then we thought, and we surveyed, we asked a few doctors what risk mitigation means to you. And one unanimous answer that came was, whenever they think of risk mitigation, they think of financial risk mitigation, because it's a financial term ultimately. So we thought, why not? We have been doing this thing during our lockdowns, trying to, find out alternate ways to be future ready, and wealth was one of the very important aspects which would make us future ready. And I am talking to the most educated, the most intelligent segment of our society, the doctors. But during this survey, we came to know that there are a lot of myths when it comes to wealth, when it comes to finance. And there we saw an opportunity to do something which will help this segment lead a better life, be more future ready, be more planned, be more aware and knowledgeable about how they should be future ready also. So we approached our finance team, and we worked out a plan, ideas developed, and to polish our ideas, we approached one of the oldest mutual fund companies, UTI. We also approached one of the largest, also a mutual fund company, along with an AMC management company, which is SBI. And then we worked out a plan, and the plan is in front of you. It is a series of 8 seminars, which will be addressed by eminent speakers from this area, finance, with one mission, one goal. And that goal will be to help you be more aware about how to mitigate the risk when it comes to finance. And I hope there are many myths, many beliefs, I would like to say, not myths, many beliefs that we have, which may not be correct, which may be very correct, but they require some update on this aspect, because many things have changed during this 2020. And I hope the agenda that we have prepared is an exhaustive agenda. And this 8 series will not be the end. I would like to say it will be a beginning of a change that will come in your professional as well as personal life. Wealth is there, but how to grow wealth is very important. For these 8 seminars that we have planned on Saturdays and Sundays, we have 6 speakers already who have been shortlisted. Today we will be listening to Mr. Deepak Mehta, who is our first speaker. Let me just list down all the speakers to you before we start our first session. Then we have Mr. Amrish Baliga, who is a SEBI registered research analyst. We have Mr. Ajay Mittal, who is the head of knowledge management and a vice president at SBIMF. We will also be listening to Alpa Shah. She is a social entrepreneur, an author, a finance professional herself, and she has helped many women become financially independent. We have one of the youngest, dynamic Kirtan Shah. He's a CEO of SRE Wealth and a certified financial planner. And we'll also be gaining from the experience of Mr. P.V. Subramania, who is a CA, a blogger, and author of a book that he has published. And I'm glad that all of them have come together to be a part of this initiative that we have taken to mitigate the risk and for a secured life. Today, I would like to welcome Mr. Deepak Mehta. Mr. Deepak Mehta is head SIP retail broking, banking, national distributors and fintech of UTI asset management company. And he's an excellent motivator, a passionate speaker. He has almost conducted more than 1,000 seminars on the subject. He has an expertise in speaking in topics from savings to investing in community, happy living, and he has definitely made a difference to thousands of lives. He has vast experience of dealing with investors, including teachers and addressing them like teachers, state government, central government employees, doctors, nurses. You might have heard him before. And even chartered accountants, lawyers, policemen, employees of various private and PSU sectors, even college students. There is no age of starting investing and growing your wealth. And he has shown us the path. There's much more to him. You can definitely know a lot. He has his own site where you can study, know more about him. But we would like to listen to him. And I take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Deepak Mehta and start this whole series of financial risk management mitigation and address us and lead us and motivate us to how to create wealth. Over to you, Mr. Deepak Mehta.
Thank you, Priydarshan. I hope I'm clearly audible. Good evening and namaskar. I'm Deepak Mehta, as Priydarshan has just introduced you. I'm representing UTI Mutual Fund, the pioneer of mutual fund business in India. Doctors. Doctors are, in my view, the living gods. The profession of doctor is the most sacred profession in this world. Because besides God, if there's anybody, if there's somebody who has the power to help mankind from suffering and sickness, it is you doctors. God has given you the power to give life. In fact, I feel you guys have a healing power. God has blessed you with a healing power. Every time I visit my doctor when I'm unwell, even before I pop the first pill or the first capsule, I'm 50% okay by just meeting my doctor. What would you call that? That is nothing but the healing power God has blessed you with. I'm truly honored to be talking to all of you doctors today. Today's talk about, as Priydarshan just shared, today's talk is about wealth creation. I would be talking to you about what is wealth, how and what's of wealth creation. And most importantly, I would be sharing my experience of wealth creation related facts and myths. There have been myths which have been existing among us, at least in my life, and which over the a journey of last around 3 decades, some of those myths have been cleared. So I'll be talking to you roughly for 45 minutes to an hour, and then I'll be very happy to take as many questions as you can. Like in your field, there's nobody who knows everything. You all are students, and I would try my level best to answer every query of yours. I will now share my screen so that you can see. Okay, so welcome the superheroes. Thank you for McLeod Pharma for giving me this opportunity and planning such a fantastic webinar series with the theme of risk mitigation. Very timely theme. Pehla Sukh Nirogi Kaya. I will be talking mostly in English, but a bit of Hindi, so it would be a Hinglish, and I hope that's okay with you. I will try and translate whatever I talk in Hindi in English also for our friends from South who may not be very comfortable with Hindi. Our ancestors, our elders have always spoken about Sat Sukh, 7 happiness. And Pehla Sukh Nirogi Kaya, first step in the happiness is a healthy body, is very well known to you. You guys have been taking good care of the health of our citizens. But do you know what is the Dusra Sukh? Can anybody answer that in the chat? I will not be able to see on my screen your answers, but I want to know how many of you know what is Dusra Sukh. Dusra Sukh, my friends, is Ghar Mein Ho Maya. What is Maya? Maya means Lakshmi, money, wealth. So in this, our ancestors with their wisdom had chosen 7 steps to happiness, in which they've said first step is good health. And of course, there cannot be anything which can be greater than that. But the second step, which may not be equally important, but very, very important, is wealth in the household. And today we will talk about that. But before that, why not let's find out what are the 7 steps of happiness which our ancestors have spoken about. So first step, Pehla Sukh Nirogi Kaya, which is a healthy body. Dusra Sukh Ghar Mein Ho Maya, which is wealth. Tisra Sukh Pativrata Nari, I have changed that to devoted spouse. Chautha Sukh Agyakari Putra, which I have changed to obedient son or a daughter. We have to go with the times. Panchwa Sukh Ho Sundar Nivas, a beautiful home. Chhata Sukh Ho Sajan Sajni Paas, husband, wife living together. And Satwa Sukh Sache Mitron Ka Sehvas, true friends. What a beautiful compilation of this. I have spoken to many, many people in my happiness speech or talk, and I have made people realize that they're actually very, very happy. There are many, many people who have all the 7 happinesses in their life, and there shouldn't be any reason for us to crib. Okay, so we get on to today's topic, wealth. What is wealth? What do we understand by wealth? Wealth, my friend, is the abundance of money or valuable possessions. It is the sum total of all assets that you own, minus, of course, the amount of your debts. It is, if I talk in terms of a chartered accountant, it is your net worth. It includes everything that you own. So it is the money in the bank, value of your shares, your mutual fund portfolio, your house, your car, your furniture, even your paintings, and even the surrender value of your insurance policy. In other words, wealth is the amount of money that you would get if you had to liquidate all your possessions and repay all your debts. And don't be surprised, this number can also be negative for a lot of people. There are people with negative net worth as well, right? But today's talk, we are talking about how, or these myths will help you understand how wealth creation can happen, or whatever we thought about wealth creation, how true it is. So let's talk about myths about wealth creation. I'm talking of 11 myths today here. And given the time, I will try and move a little fast with some of the myths. So myth one, people who earn more are rich. When I started my career, when I came to Bombay, good 30 years, 28 years back, I always thought that people who earn more are rich. And I won't be surprised if most of you also think the same today. I give you an example. If there are two brothers, two real brothers, one person earning 5 crores in a year, the second person is earning 50 lakhs in a year. 5 crores, 50 lakhs. Who, according to you, is rich? Can you tell me? I'm sure the obvious answer is the one who is earning 5 crores in a year. But that can be a wrong answer. That can be a myth. Because the second part of the story is that the brother who's earning 5 crores in a year is spending 7 crores in a year. And the person who's earning 50 lakhs in a year is spending 20 lakhs in a year. Now tell me who is rich. Obviously, the answer would have changed. The person who is spending less than what he's earning is the one who is richer. Mind you, करोड़पति वो नहीं होता जो करोड़ रुपया खर्चा करता है. करोड़पति वो होता है जो करोड़ रुपया बचाता है. कमाता भी इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. आप 100 करोड़ कमा सकते हो, पर आप करोड़पति नहीं होंगे अगर आप 110 करोड़ खर्च करेंगे. You may be earning 100 crores, but you still will not be called a crorepati if you are spending 101 crores. Let me explain this with an example. So we have chosen two characters, Ranbir and Hrithik. Imagine Ranbir and Hrithik are twin brothers, equally qualified. Both of them have the same education and both of them get the same job, same salary. Ranbir saves 5,000 rupees each month. Hrithik saves 15,000 rupees each month. Both of them continue to do the saving for the next 30 years and both of them generate 8% return on their savings. Ranbir will obviously end up with 75 lakhs. Hrithik will end up with 2.25 crore rupees. What is the lesson here? Part lesson. The more you save, very obvious, the more you save, the greater wealth you will have. In the second instance, Ranbir actually is saving 50% more than Hrithik. But Hrithik started saving 10 years before Ranbir started saving. So Hrithik started saving at the age of 30. Ranbir started saving at the age of 40. Both of them saved 18 lakhs in their lifetime. Both of them generated 8% return. At the time of retirement, Ranbir will have 44 lakhs. Hrithik will have 75 lakhs. What is the important message here? Earlier you start, greater wealth you accumulate. In the third instance, Ranbir and Hrithik both are saving 5,000 rupees equally each month. And both of them are generating, Ranbir is generating 8% per annum return. Hrithik is generated 15% per annum return. Ranbir will have 75 lakhs. Hrithik will have 3.5 crore rupees. What does it say? The right asset matters. So investing into the right asset can help you create greater wealth. Imagine Ranbir and Hrithik are twin brothers, both of them same education, same earnings, and 3 simple mistakes Ranbir did and 3 right things Hrithik did. Look at the difference at the time of retirement. Ranbir will have 30 lakhs and Hrithik will have 10.5 crore rupees. What are the 3 mistakes Ranbir did? Or what are the 3 right things Hrithik did? The 3 right things Hrithik did was start early, invest for the long term, and invest in the right products to maximize returns. Very, very important lesson. So today we make the first myth that people who earn more are going to be richer than others. That's not true. There can be somebody who's earning more than you, but you can be wealthier than that person if you have the right qualities, the right attitude, the patience, and long-term planning. This is a picture of my grandfather, Seth Narsingh Mehta. He shared a very, very important lesson in my life, which I learned at a very early stage. And I always try and give this piece of advice to every youngster. I would recommend that this is the only slide in the entire presentation where you can click and you can share the details with your kids later. It is not what you eat, but what you digest that makes you healthy. and I'm sure who knows this better than doctors, it is not what you read, but what you understand that makes you wise. And it is not what you earn, but what you save and prudently invest that makes you wealthy. It's such an important advice. Do remember this advice. We go on to our next myth. Money in my locked cupboard is safe. No one can steal out of it. If you were sitting face to face, I would have asked questions and would have got immediate replies. But since I am showing the screen and I am on full screen, I'm not able to read your comments, but I would love to read your comments later. Imagine you have 10 lakh rupees, which you put in your cupboard, say in the year 2010, and assuming those notes were the one which were not demonetized by the government. And if in 2020, you open the cupboard back and you start counting the money, how much money will you count? You had kept 10 lakh rupee cash in your cupboard in 2010, and in 2020, you're taking that money out and counting the notes. How much money will you count? Obviously, the right answer is that the money you will count is 10 lakhs. But there is a big but. There's a big but. The big but is while you will count 10 lakhs, the actual money which you have in hand is much lesser. Somebody has stolen a part of your money. Who is that? Who has stolen that part of your money which you don't even realize? Somebody who is stolen is something we call inflation. Friends, inflation is seen as महंगाई. हर साल कुछ चीजें महंगी होती है और उसको हम inflation समझते हैं. But a lot of people do not understand this. Because of inflation, the value of money keeps going down. आपने सुना होगा your grandparents or parents talking that, at the time of my marriage, gold was worth 5,000 rupees for 10 grams. Today it's 50,000 or something like that. Flats were available for 1 lakh in South Bombay. Today they are available for 5 and 10 crores. What has happened? What has changed? The value of money has declined. So here I'll give you an example. If we assume 6% rate of inflation, then 1 crore rupees, if you keep in cupboard or somebody kept in cupboard, and don't be surprised, there are a lot of people who keep cash in their cupboard for very long periods of time. And 30 years later, 84% of that money will be eroded. If that gentleman opens his cupboard today after 30 years, he will still count 1 crore rupees. But the fact is that the value of those 1 crores have gone away by 84%. If you think that's a odd behavior, you will be surprised. Hundreds of thousands of lakh crore rupees are lying in bank accounts which yield less than the inflation rate. If you assume the last 10 years, the rate of inflation in India was between 6 and 7%, the saving account gives 3%, which means if your money is lying in the bank account, it's actually erosion in wealth. It's a wealth destruction, not wealth creation. Still, thousands of lakhs of crore rupees is in those bank accounts. Mind you, friends, even fixed deposits, which would have given you 6-7%, post-tax, that money also would not be able to beat inflation, which means there was a wealth erosion. The second aspect, which takes a part of your wealth without you knowing, is taxation. Most of the people understand taxation, but do not understand taxation in the aspect that is a cost. Whenever you evaluate your investments, you have to look at the post-tax returns. So people say, okay, I'm getting 6% or maybe now 5% in fixed deposit, but you're forgetting that you're in the highest tax bracket. You will probably be paying 30% tax on that. So your net of tax return will be 3.5%, right? So inflation and taxation. Do not forget these two aspects every time you're talking of investments, every time you're talking of wealth creation. They're very, very important aspects of wealth creation. We go to the next aspect. Myth 3. Investment requires a lot of money. This is targeted more at the young doctors who are here today. A lot of people have this impression to start the investment journey, you already need a lot of money. You need a lot of money to be accumulated before you start investment journey. That's not true. That's a big myth. And that myth probably is because at some stage in life, long years back, probably 20 years back, 25 years back, you actually needed to accumulate some money to start your wealth creation journey. But that's not true today. Can you imagine? You can start today, and I'm sure there would have been a poll question to ask to you as to how little can you start your investment journey with. You can actually start your investment journey today in India with as little as 500 rupees a month. 500 rupees a month. In Bombay, if three of us go and eat a pan, probably that costs 500 rupees. If I book an Ola or an Uber to my office, that will cost me 500 rupees. If I go to a theater, two of us cannot probably go and watch a movie with popcorn in 500 rupees, but you can start your investment journey with as little as 500 rupees. How? How can you do that? There's a very magical concept called SIP, Systematic Investment Plan. Systematic Investment Plan is a fantastic concept. It is not a product per se, it's actually a process. But it's a fantastic concept because it allows you to save for your financial goal. What are financial goals? Financial goals, if you close your eyes for just 45 seconds or a minute and look at your life fast forwarded for the next 30 years. If you are a young doctor, you would see that you're getting married, you're going on a honeymoon, you're buying a new car, you're buying a new house, you're going on a foreign trip, you're sending your parents on a pilgrimage, you're buying a bigger house, you are buying a bigger car, then you have kids, you are buying things for them, then you're sending them to good school, then you're sending them to good college, then you need money for their higher education, then you need money for their wedding, then you need money for your retirement, then you need money for your spouse's retirement. What are these? Every dream of yours is a financial goal. You need to save money for that. And you need to save money in a disciplined manner. SIP, as the name suggests, Systematic Investment Plan, is a fantastic way of saving for these financial goals. Whether that goal is 5 years from now, 10 years from now, or 40 years from now, you can save money through a mutual fund SIP. What exactly does an SIP do? I will not get into a very technical explanation, but I can tell you that the advantages of SIP are many. First and the biggest advantages, let me tell you a very big surprise to you. Wealth creation is not about maths or finance. Wealth creation is about behavior. There are many people with phenomenal knowledge. People like me who will be giving lectures, but they may still not be very successful if they do not have the right behavior. Disciplined saving is the first and the foremost advantage of SIP, because each month from your saving account, a certain amount of money is picked and goes into investment of your chosen scheme. It gives you a benefit of power of compounding, which I'll explain to you a little later. This helps you reach your financial goals. Most importantly, you do not need to time the market. You must be reading into newspapers that a lot of people think the market will go up, but the market goes down. When people think markets will go down, the markets go up. That's like timing the market, trying to decide how the markets will go. No, that's something very, very difficult. The biggest and the most successful investors in the world have openly said that they have not been successful in timing the market. And as I said, you can start this with as little as 500 rupees. The biggest advantage of SIP is something which is called a rupee cost averaging, but I promise that I don't want to make it technical. But I can tell you one simple thing. The biggest mantra in stock market is buy more and more when it is cheap and buy less and less when it is expensive. SIP does that automatically. Because you're investing the same sum of money when things are cheaper. If you can see in the 8th month, If it was a unit price was 8 rupees, you bought 125 units. But when the price was 12 rupees in the 12th month, you bought only 83 rupees. This is done automatically by SIP, buying more when the markets are cheap, buying lesser when the markets are expensive. And in the long period of time, when you keep doing that, your average cost comes significantly lower. And that helps you achieve your financial goal, whatever be the financial goal. And I forget, your financial goal could be setting up a great medical facility, your own hospital. Okay, I come to myth number 4, and you would be surprised. This man started talking about finance and then wealth and then maths and then behavior. And now suddenly he's talking about wonders of world. Are we talking tourism? My friends, how many wonders of world are there? There are 7 wonders of world. And we are grateful. We are so happy that one of them is in India. Taj Mahal, of course, our Shan. But why I'm talking about this? No, there's a reason behind it. Friends, a very important thing. Other than doctors, most profession, people complete their education by the year 25. Of course, doctors keep studying till the age of 32 and 35, sometimes even more, for getting MD and then DM and stuff like that. So assuming somebody, say an MBA, who completes his MBA at the age of 25 and takes up a job and retires at the age of 60. So his working lifespan is 35 years. He would have worked for 35 years. 35 years adds up to 420 months. Correct? Assuming in the very first month when he worked, he saved 1,000 rupees and he continued to save this 1,000 rupees till the month of retirement. Of course, his salary increased. He did a lot more savings. But this saving of 1,000 rupees, he continued from the time he started working till the last month of his career. 420 months. If he saved 1,000 rupees each month, he would have saved 4,20,000 rupees. Imagine if he generated 9% return on this 4,20,000 rupees. This 4,20,000 rupees would have become 29,42,000 rupees almost in 420 months or 35 years. Isn't that a surprise? Mind you, he did not save 4,20,000 at the beginning of a career. He kept saving each month and still he added up to almost 30 lakh rupees. Now I'm asking you a question and I would like you to reply in the chat. Assuming he did not generate 9% return, but his return is doubled to 18%. Return is doubled to 18% for the same 35 years, 4,20,000 saved. How much money will he accumulate? The obvious answer, we all have learned in maths. I didn't study so much maths, but we have learned that if you multiply one side by 2, you multiply the other side by 2 as well. So instead of 29,41,000 at 18%, he should have 58,83,000 rupees, right? That's the correct answer. No, my friends, that's not the right answer. He would not accumulate 58,83,000. The money will not double. The money will grow 3 times. Sorry, not 3 times, 4, 5 times, 6 times, 7. No, that's also not correct. 8 times, 9 times. The money will grow 10 times, not even 10, even more than that, 11 times, 12 times. The money will actually grow to 13 times and become 3,45 lakh rupees. Digest this. Same sum of 4,20,000 rupees invested over a period of 420 months at 9% return, that money will add up to 29,42,000. At 18% return, that money will become 3,45 lakh rupees. And can you see the figure at 4%? It is 9,13,000 rupees. So it's quite possible to 2 people save the same sum of money. One guy ended with 9,13,000 or maybe less, and the other guy ended with 3 crores and 45 lakh rupees. That, my friend, is the power of compounding. Albert Einstein called it eighth wonder of the world. That's the reason I showed you that there are not 7 wonders of world. There's a greater wonder of world which is greater than all the 7 in my view, and that is the power of compounding. This is the power of compounding. Even now, I'm telling you, most people do not still understand power of compounding. Power of compounding is not only about the returns. People chase returns. Power of compounding is also about the tenure. The longer your duration of your investment, the greater wealth you will accumulate. Mind you, friends, we are not in any way assuring you 18% kind of returns. Mutual funds do not assure any returns. No products can assure 18% kind of returns. In the kind of the economy we are here now, 18% may not be great, may not be the kind of return you should expect. The point is, returns have to be commensurate with your inflation. So while your inflation is 6-7%, a saving account will give you probably 3%. Fixed deposit net of taxation will probably give you 4%. An equity mutual fund could have given you 12-14%, which would have created a great wealth for you, given that the inflation was 6-7%. That is what the message is. Power of compounding is the 8th wonder of world. Those who know, they earn out of it. Those who don't, they pay for it. Okay, so I come on to the next myth. Investment means fixed deposits. We all have been brought in a generation where our parents probably invested into LIC. LIC or life insurance was considered as an investment. The recurring deposit was considered as an investment, of course, postal saving, and then the most common fixed deposit. Is fixed deposit the only option for investment? Is it the best investment option? Friends, as I told you earlier, you have to always see things net of tax, what you're getting, and compare it with inflation. If net of tax, what you're getting is greater than the inflation, then that is a good investment product, provided you're taking care of risks as well, right? It's very important to know your risks. But what is the right way to invest? In where should we invest? And there, my advice is, and this is a myth which a lot of people would have or were having at some stage in life, that investment means fixed deposit only. Investment is not fixed deposits. There are various asset classes where you invest. What are asset classes? For example, you have invested in real estate. I'm sure doctors love real estate. All of you would have invested into real estate. That's an asset class. Gold is an asset class, right? Though in India, you should not count jewelry as an investment, because that is, I personally believe, for consumption. But if you're buying a gold bar or a gold biscuit, yes, that's an investment and that's an asset class. Then there is equity, which is shares, which could be an asset class, debt, bonds, all kinds of fixed deposit, PPF, NSC. They are debt. This is an asset class. And then cash, which is your saving bank account or a liquid mutual fund, is an asset class. So we call of a concept called asset allocation. Your financial advisor will be able to work out an asset allocation for you based on your risk-taking ability, based on the risk mitigation you want, based on your other considerations, your entire family background, your kind of earnings, your kind of commitments, and you should stick to asset allocation, which means a ratio in which how your money will go into various asset classes. The beauty, my friend, is that of the 5 asset classes, which you can see, 5 most prominent asset classes, of course, for example, art is an asset class. Paintings are an asset, right? Paintings are an asset class. You and I may not be able to understand, right? A painting you and me think is something which is okay, maybe worth crores of rupees, right? So we do not understand that asset class, but that is an asset class. So there are different asset classes now. Bitcoins is also talked about as an asset class. But the most prominent 5 asset class which are there in front of you, out of that, the first 4 asset class you can invest through mutual funds. You can invest in through mutual funds in the cash as an asset class, debt as an asset class, equity as an asset class, gold as an asset class, because there are gold ETFs and gold mutual fund, gold funds, index funds, right? So you can invest into these asset classes through mutual funds. Mutual fund means equities only. As I just said, and you just learned that mutual fund, it's a myth that mutual fund means equity only. There are people who say, I do not want to invest in mutual fund because I do not want to invest into equity. But that's not true. You can invest into debt. There are mutual funds which work exactly like your fixed deposit, but they have a tax advantage over fixed deposit. They will give you returns which will be better than fixed deposit. This concept called fixed maturity plans. Then there are various kinds of mutual funds. You can invest into mutual funds for as little as 1 day and as great as 100 years. From 1 day to 100 years, whatever your time duration, you can invest into mutual fund. Whatever your risk profile, there's a product for there in mutual fund. Who invests into mutual fund? Banks with whom you park your fixed deposits and savings, they invest into mutual funds. Every single large corporate invests into mutual fund. Every single large industrialist invests into mutual fund. Every big wealthy person invests into mutual fund. Mutual fund is the new age tool. Of course, it's not new age. As I said, UTI started way back in 1963, 64. But yes, in the last couple of 10, 15, 20 years, mutual funds and SIPs have become more popular. That's the reason I'm saying this is a new age. This graph, I don't want to explain to you in greater detail, but I can tell you within equity, there are various kinds of funds. Within debt, there are various kinds of funds. And that depends on your risk-taking ability, your expectations of return. A combination of the two can work out. For example, there are sectoral funds which are the most risky. For example, there's a pharma fund. Now, pharma fund would invest only into pharma companies or diagnostic company or healthcare company. Of course, you understand that sector so well, so you can decide when to invest into that. Similarly, there are banks and financial services kind of funds. Then there are diversified funds, even the tax saving funds which are there. Diversified funds invest into all kinds of companies, large companies, small companies, mid-cap companies. So there are various schemes which invest into only small companies, which is called small cap fund. The companies which invest only into mid-sized companies is called mid-cap funds. There are companies which invest into only the large companies. They're called large cap funds. So there are a variety of funds, which I'm sure your financial advisor will be able to advise you. There are also arbitrage funds which do not take absolute risk. They're better than your saving bank investments because they buy in one market and sell into another market. But that's not a subject of today's. I do not want to go into greater detail, but if you have questions, please write it on the chat board and I would be happy to answer your question. What are the advantages of mutual fund? The biggest advantages of mutual fund is professional management. At a very nominal cost, you get highly qualified IIT, IIM kind of people with 20, 30, 40 years of experience into this business. You get diversification. With even 500 rupees investment, probably your portfolio will have 40 companies. Where else would you get diversification? Convenient administration, the good potential of return, low cost, liquidity. Mutual fund investments, except for the locked in tax saving investment, every other mutual fund you can redeem and get your money back in 2 days, 3 days. Transparency, very high transparency, flexibility. There are a lot of choices, very highly regulated. And as I said, there are tax benefits as well. Very important point now. Myth 7. Equity is not important for wealth creation. I meet a lot of people who sometimes tell me that I do not want to invest into equity. That's okay. That's their choice. They find equity is very risky. That's also okay. That may be true also in some sense. But there are people who say, I do not want to invest into equities because I do not understand equities. That's a pertinent point. If you do not understand, you should not. What is equities? To explain to a layman, I have, and my team has drawn this graph for you. If you see this, the numbers you can see 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It is nothing but the time in the watch. So typical middle class Indian gets up at 6 o'clock in the morning and first thing he does is brushes his teeth with a Colgate toothpaste. Actually, that may not be true. He may be first checking his WhatsApp on a Bharti Airtel or a Jio or a Vodafone Idea phone. Then he would go and brush his teeth with a Colgate toothpaste and a toothbrush. Then he'll shave with a Gillette razor and a Gillette shaving foam. He will go take his motorcycle, which may be a Bajaj or a Hero Honda product. He will go to a Bharat Petroleum petrol pump, get an oil fuel filled. He will drop his daughter who's wearing a Bata shoe to the school, come back, have some breakfast cereals which are made by Hindustan Unilever or Procter and Gamble or any of those companies. Then he'll take his Maruti car, wear a Khadim shoe, go for an HPCL petrol pump, go to office, work on a Dell computer with Infosys TCS kind of software. During the day, he'll go to deposit his Mahanagar gas electricity, the gas bill, go to an HDFC bank or an ICICI bank or a State Bank of India for some banking thing. During the day, he will use products of Pidilite, some stationery from Pidilite. At 4 o'clock, he'll probably have some tea from Tata Tea with some biscuits from Britannia. 7, 8 o'clock, he will probably pick up his Tata Motor car or a Mahindra car, or of course, he's taken Maruti car. So he'll come back in Maruti car home. 8 o'clock, he'll take a shower with the Procter and Gamble shampoo. 9 o'clock, he will have his dinner and take some tablets from Sun Pharma, Cipla or Lupin. And 10 o'clock, he will take one good, nice drink of United Spirits and go to sleep. Now, this is a typical Indian middle-class person's daily routine. In a single day, each one of us are consuming products and services of so many large companies. And these companies are making so much money. Every quarter, some of these companies are making thousands of crores of rupees. Do you have the power to go and tell them, my friend, you're making so much money, please charge me a little less? You're making so much money, why don't you charge a little less? Give me a little discount. Will they listen to you? No. They are making money, but you have a smarter way of enjoying that money. How? You can become their partner. And how do you become their partner? You become their shareholder. Shareholders are the part owners of a company. And when the company earns, shareholder also earns. But there's a big catch there. You become a partner, but of which company? If you think banks are making a lot of money, which bank share should you buy? Should it be ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, Axis Bank, SBI, Punjab National Bank, Bank of Baroda, AU Finance Bank, Federal Bank, Karnataka Bank? Which bank share should you buy? That you do not know. There are so many companies, so many banks whose share prices have gone down, while there's so many other banks whose share prices have gone up. You really do not need to get into that. You do not need to study for that. What you need to do is invest into mutual fund. And when you invest into mutual fund, your fund manager decides. He's an experienced person. He's a knowledgeable person. It is his profession. Like you do research in your field, he does research in his field, and he knows what is the bank to invest for your returns. This is the power of equity. For wealth creation, equity is a very, very, very important asset class. And I must tell you, friends, we all are very fortunate that we are citizens of India. We are born in India. And we are further more fortunate that we are born in India in this era. Probably if we were born in India 50 years back, there were not so many opportunities. India was not growing the same fashion the way we are growing today. So equities is the place where, if you see, entire world, everybody in the world is looking at Indian markets to invest. All the global big companies are coming, bringing big billions of dollars to invest in the India market. And we in India, we do not understand the power of equity. It would be unfortunate. A lot of wealth in the last 30, 40 years have been made in equities in India, and significantly greater wealth will be made in the next 30, 40 years in India. There is never too late for that. Okay, myth 8, it's a very important myth Let's get rich quickly money multiplier scheme. Whichever city of India you are in, I can guarantee that there are several fly-by-night operators running schemes promising doubling of money, 3 times money in 1 year and 2 years and 4 years. And eventually they run away. There was a company called PACL. I think it was based out of Jaipur and then spread into various states. PACL company raised 50,000 crores of rupees, 50,000 crores of rupees of very, very small investors. Your and my drivers, your and my maids, our domestic help, that kind of people, and a lot of educated people also contributed money there. And then the entire money went away because the company just ran away. My friends, do not invest into any such schemes which promises crazy profits but are not regulated. There are lakhs of such scheme going on in every part of the country. And not only you should take care of that, but of your staff, your nurses, your compounder, your driver, and your mates. Share this knowledge with them. Do not invest into such chit funds. Like, for example, we had in West Bengal and East a Sharda chit fund. People lost a lot of money. And there are in various schemes. There are some schemes which will say we will grow teak wood, and there are some schemes which will say we put cars on rent, and then some schemes which will say we will have BCs and chit funds, and they name it bhed palenge or bakri palenge, what not. Please do not ever get trapped into that. Myth 9, I can do it myself. I don't need professional help. Now, I'm sure you also face this with patients these days. Everybody wants to go to Google, and by their 3.5 minutes of Google search, they want to compete with your knowledge. Can they? You have probably spent 15 years, 20 years studying, another 15 years of practice. In 35 years of your experience, can your patient who has studied for 3.5 minutes on Google, can he compete with your knowledge? Can somebody go to Google and decide the cause of a fever? As I understand, a fever could be because of 120 reasons. It could be because of COVID. It could be because of cancer. It could be because of dengue. It could be because of pneumonia, malaria, infection, any damn thing, right? So just like a patient should not try to self-diagnose, my advice to all of you doctors is that you need professional help. You should have your own financial advisor who can help you with your investments. Do not try to do it yourself. There's one life. We cannot keep experimenting. So health and wealth must be handled with the help of professionals. Myth 10, big risks lead to big bucks. There's a saying that for greater returns, you need greater risk. But that does not necessarily means greater risk results into greater returns. Sometimes greater risk results to no returns or negative returns. Friends, there are a lot of fashionable things which keep moving around. So for examples, you will find on a social gathering over drinks on a weekend, some friends will say that, okay, he's doing options in the stock market, F&O as they call. Somebody else is doing futures, somebody is doing derivatives. Somebody has invested into Bitcoins and, why don't you also do that and all that? Wealth is not created by going with the fads. Wealth is created by discipline, by consistency, by consistently following the plan. Creating wealth is not at all about getting the highest returns. Please understand, not getting the highest return. High returns do come with high risk. And whenever the investment fails, your confidence in making the right investment choice will take a deep plunge. Wealth creation is about getting consistent returns. That is where I said mutual funds and SIPs. Consistent returns is what you're taking. 1 year, somebody talks of 70%, and the next year you talk of minus 80% is not what will make you wealthy. Earning consistent returns is not about doing something drastic or contrarian in your portfolio. कोई बहुत बड़ा stunt करने की जरूरत नहीं है. It's about maintaining the right investment behavior. As I said, behavior is important, and staying true to your asset allocation. Asset allocation is very, very, very important. We often think that procuring wealth has something to do with overnight gains. Your media will show a lot of people who became quick rich and all that. Trust me, those are stories. That's not a sure way or a certain way of becoming rich. Wealth creation is an outcome of patience and careful planning. It's in the long term to achieve. Everybody wants to create wealth in the long term to achieve financial freedom and security for themselves. There are many ways to do that. Savings is one way, but I said savings alone will not make you wealthy. It has to be investment. It has to be creating options for passive income, which will take you to wealth creation. Of course, it needs, as I said, patience and careful planning. So avoid fads like Bitcoins, futures and options. I do not want to take names, but there have been stories in this country where very successful doctors have, with very large hospitals themselves, have lost a lot of money by getting into things like futures and option. That's not because of their fault or their greed. It's because of their wrong advice. Somebody must have advised them that you can get rich faster. Trust me, the fastest way for wealth creation for you is to invest into yourself, your profession, your knowledge, and consistently keep saving and investing that money. Wealth creation is a so slow process. It is not going to happen overnight, and all those stories are nothing but stories. My final myth, and a very, very important myth, closest to my heart. Investments for retirement is for old people. If I was to take a poll and ask who should save for retirement, and the most obvious answer is old people. But that's a big, big myth. People who are old do not need to save for retirement. People who are young, they need to save for their retirement. Friends, say just 20 years back, if two friends were talking and one of them gets a phone call which announces that his mama or his chacha has passed away, and the other friend says, what happened? He says, my uncle passed away. The most obvious question would be, oh, that's very sad. How old was he? And if he says he was 62 years old or 65 years old, 20 years back, the answer would be, acha age thi. Oh, he was ripe of the ripe age. 65 years. Today, in 2021, in my family, in your family, in my society, your society, and among your friend circle, and you're among your customers and your patients, you would know many people who are 90, 95, 99, and even 100. If you go to my Facebook page, you can see my pictures cutting cake with an auntie who was celebrating her 100th birthday. And that picture is of 3 years back. And with the grace of God, thankful to God, she's still alive and hale and hearty. Friends, you will be surprised if I tell you, and though you are doctors, this is something which may come and hit you big time. In my personal view, 70 to 80% of the people who are here in this chat today may live beyond 95 years. Yet another shocker. Several people who are listening to me today may actually live for 110 years. Now, as doctors, you would say, Deepak Mehta, you're bullshitting. I am a doctor. How can you even expect people to live 110 years? I'm not saying that we are any healthier. We all are taking lots and lots of medicines, and you know that better than anybody else. But the progress in medical sciences have really pushed the life expectancy. And you know that very well. People who are living today at the age of 95, when they were born, the expected life expectancy was probably 50 years, but today they are alive at 95. So don't be surprised if a lot of us survive for 110 years. But my friends, our body will not be so strong. At the age of 65, we may not be in a position to work. Some of the greatest doctors have worked till 70 and 80, and you're fortunate to be, in a profession where you can work till 70 and 80 and will be respected and sought after. But your body should be able to support. There are not many people who will retire at the age of 65 and survive till the age of 95 and 100 years, and they will live a retired life of 30, 35, 40 years. And they will be the most expensive years of their life. Friends, we all need a retirement corpus. Women tends to live longer. They will need a bigger investment corpus. So all of you and your spouses need a separate retirement corpus. With folded heads, I tell you, if you have not started saving money towards your retirement, start today. Not even tomorrow, start today. Do a mutual fund SIP towards your retirement corpus. Keep adding it up. Keep doing a step up, which is increasing your SIP contribution each year, and grow that corpus for retirement. It's a must. In my personal view, 20 years from now, the biggest problem India will face will not be Pakistan, will not probably be poverty, will not be pollution, but India will have a large population of retired people who would not have adequate resources to support their lifestyle. And that's my worry. With this, I come to the end of my presentation, and I end with a very interesting quote from, of course, none other than Warren Buffett. If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will have to work until you die. And that's a very dreaded thought. So you need to find a way to make money while you sleep, and mutual fund is a fantastic way to make money while you sleep. Thank you so much for being there. I'll just sum up the entire talk. If you want to click the picture, you can click the picture of this summary, and you can share these lessons with your kids. So first, and the most important lesson, spend less than what you earn. Without that, everything else is a waste. Second, start saving early, invest for the long term and in the right asset class. Inflation is a reality. You can beat it by investing in the right asset class. Investing can be started with a very small sum. Understand and gain from the magic of compounding. Right investment portfolio would have more than one asset class. Mutual fund is a fantastic tool. There's a large variety of funds to suit your requirements. Be cautious and do not invest into any unregulated and fraud scheme. You are a doctor, but you need a financial doctor. Doing it yourself may be dangerous. Higher risk doesn't necessarily mean higher returns, and retirement planning should start with the start of a career. Thank you so much. I have come to the end of my presentation. You can take note of my numbers and my email ID. If I can be of any assistance to you in your financial planning and journey, I'll be very happy to assist. We have people across the country who can come and assist you with this. Thank you so very much. And I would now request my friend Priydarshan to take on the Q&A session. Over to you, Priydarshan.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Deepak Mehta.
I hope I've
and
not...
it was no, that has been tremendous. We want to listen more actually, because a lot of myths are getting being
busted,
cleared, Yeah. So point is we would be here with Mr. Deepak Mehta for around 15-20 minutes more if you have questions, and a few have already come in. So let me just start with some one question here is from Mr. Vishal Thakur, and he wants to know that can we invest SIP on our kids account?
Yes.
And etc. Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So his son is 3 years and he wants to invest for 32 years so that he can get on some good amount of money at the age of 35. And is there any tax which will be levied on the father because he's investing on his son and something like that? So can you clear some air there?
Okay. So first and foremost, you can invest into an SIP, mutual fund SIP for your kid also. But as a minor, whatever his income is there will be added to your income. So in terms of a tax benefit, you will not have any additional tax benefit to the best of my knowledge. So you can start an SIP in your name with a clear goal that this is for your child. Okay. So it's about wealth creation. But understand, Vishalji, one more thing, that in case of an equity, you pay the tax when you redeem, when you book those returns. So if you are investing for 35 years, you don't have to worry right now about the taxes on that. That money will keep accumulating and there would be no tax levied till the time you take out the money. I hope that answers.
Right. Right. We have one more question. See, the point is you have said in your session today that there are so many ways to invest. If investment has to be done, as a doctor, what should he focus on when it comes to wealth creation?
What should a doctor focus on when it comes to wealth creation? Then, friends, my advice is that a doctor should focus on his own practice. See, understand one thing. Doctor is a profession where you have limited time. I mean, time is money is the most suitable thing for doctors. So if you invest time into your profession by studying more, by practicing more, you will actually earn more. And you should leave the finances to a professional, which I told you during the chat also, that you should have a professional financial advisor who can take care of your finances. Like I said, we should not try to treat ourselves. I would say you should also not depend purely on your own background or knowledge to invest. Go for a professional. Of course, I've met some doctors in my career who had phenomenal knowledge about finance also out of interest. But that's good. But I would still recommend that you should have a financial planner or a financial advisor.
Great. We have one more doctor, Mr. Vinay Kumar, who wants to know about what are the best type of shares or which type of shares for long term he should invest in. See,
Vinay,
it's coming very specific, but you can be a little broad.
No problem. Vinayji, I have an experience of being in capital market for almost 27 years. I started my career managing funds. I was managing hundreds of crores of rupees for a large corporate at that point in time. But with all that experience, I would tell you that the best way of investing into equities is through mutual fund. And this is not because I'm working for a mutual fund. Probably if 20 years down the line, I may be working for some NGO and you'll ask me, I will still give you the same answer. What happens is investing into shares is exciting, right? But for excitement, we will rather go to a casino. The fact is that stock market requires a lot of knowledge. Did you think that Yes Bank was a bad company or Satyam Computers was a bad company? They were not, right? Or DHFL was a bad company. They were great, large companies. But it requires like your business, it requires a lot of research to understand. It's not just the profits. There are companies, I can't take names. There are companies which make a lot of profit, but you will never find them into any mutual fund portfolio of any mutual fund company. Why? Because it's not only what profits you make, how you make profits. What are the real profits? What are book profits? My friends, a simple, clear winner is a mutual fund investment. And if you're still not convinced, then I'm giving you an open suggestion. For next 3 years, put 80% of your money in mutual funds, 20% try to do it yourself. And after 3 years, you compare the returns, you will never ask this question again. A professional fund manager managing money is far, far superior than any of us doing it. A lot of people who invest into shares would know that one share probably gave them 5 beggar, 5 times paisa ho gaya. but there are 18 other shares in the portfolio which lost between 10 to 100%. I have in my demat so many shares which are zero now. We all have made those mistakes in the past. But right way today, I would say, is mutual fund.
Right. So somewhere you're trying to say that if you want to invest in equities which give very high returns, you should do it the mutual fund way.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. We have Mr. Pankaj Barua, and he is also trying to ask the same thing, that which is the mutual fund which banks on equity, which are currently the best ones to invest in.
Again, my friend Pankaj ji, there is no one answer. It's like asking कि आजकल कौन सी अच्छी दवाई चल रही है, right? There's no one right medicine, even for a same disease, right? You would not give the same medicine to everybody for blood pressure or diabetes. So based on your risk return metrics, there will be an investment portfolio which should be made. So depending if you are probably 25 years, then within your equity portfolio also, that can be more aggressive, right? I could probably look at a sectorial fund or a small cap fund. But if you're probably 55 years, then probably I'll give you a large cap fund within that. I will not give you a small cap fund. So it depends on your risk return profile, your objectives, your time duration, and there's no one answer which says that this is a fantastic mutual fund scheme fit for all, right? I know that may not have answered you may not have got the right, may not have got the answer you were looking for, but this is the right answer.
Right. We have Dr. Amit Vikram, and who is trying to ask some basic question, that there is a terminology called NAV, which is oftenly seen on SIPs that are done. So what is the significance of NAV and how to correlate with actual amount invested?
Very good. Fantastic. NAV means net asset value, and I'll try and explain you in a very simple manner. Imagine 10 of us right now, all of us decide that, okay, we collectively collect some fund for something, say to go for a holiday or some picnic or maybe for a dinner. And everybody contributes different sum of money, right? Assuming somebody contributed 1,000 rupees, somebody contributed 10,000, another person contributed 1 lakh. Now, each one will get number of units based on the money contributed. So when you start, or a fund which is just starting, the NAV is 10 rupees by default. So if somebody invested 1 lakh, he will get 10,000 units. Somebody who invested 10,000 will get 1,000 units. So that time NAV is 10 rupees. Now, as the market keeps going up, as the NAV keeps going up, depending on the market up and down, the NAV may grow to 50 rupees and 60 rupees and 70 rupees over the years, and may come down to 40 rupees and another go back to 60 rupees. That is the sum total of all investment, the market value of all the investment divided by total number of units is your NAV. First thing. Second thing, a big myth is that a fund with 10 rupees NAV is better than a fund with 100 rupees. They are absolutely same. They are absolutely same. Two large cap scheme, one with 10 rupees NAV, another with 100 rupees NAV. If you're investing on the same day, it is the same. There is no difference because of NAV. NAV is not share price. NAV is the value of that investment per unit, right? Now, when you invest in SIP, the SIP works on a concept of rupee cost averaging. So whenever market is lower, NAV will be little lower. At that point in time, in the same sum of money, you will accumulate more units. And when you keep doing this consistently over years, that brings your average cost lower. And as a result of that, your returns will be higher. I hope that answers your question. If you still have anything, I had shared my email. You could mail it to me, and I or my team would try and answer that.
Great. That was technical actually, but then definitely
the question was technical.
Yeah. Right. One more very important question is that is there a difference in the type of investment we do as per the age? Will it differ? Because see, if I am talking to a doctor here sitting who is in his 50s or 60s, he may not invest for 35 years or for 20 years and wait. Maybe what will the type of investment change as per age?
100%. When deciding on the investment for an individual, there are several factors which are to be considered. Age is a very, very important. Your financial goals are important. Your financial condition and your entire ecosystem is considered. For example, there may be a doctor who is the only earning member in a family with 10 dependents or 8 dependents. And there can be another doctor of the same age, but his wife is also earning, his son is also earning, daughter is also earning, and he has a passive income also. So all the factors, passive income means income where you do not have to work, but you earn, for example, rent, dividend, interest, all that kind of income. So all the factors have to be put together. Age is a very important factor on deciding your asset allocation.
Okay. So there's a question from Ashish Bhardwaj that mutual fund managers also invest in stocks. Then why we should not get dividend and bonus?
Okay, fantastic. When you invest into mutual fund scheme, the mutual fund scheme invests into stocks, and all the bonuses and all the dividends that come, that goes to the scheme. So it's effectively coming to you only. Okay, it's not that goes somewhere else. So if you have invested into Reliance Industries share or say Maruti share, and if the fund has invested into Maruti share, the dividend will also be going to Maruti, of Maruti will go to the scheme only, and all the investors will get their fair share on that. So you're not losing anything in mutual fund.
Okay. There are some funds that have come which are investing in abroad, that is US market. Like the SBI has recently launched SBI International US Fund. Do you think it's how do you justify or how do you clear this? What type of investment is this? And should we go for it?
Okay, so very interesting point. Please understand one thing. India now is one of the fastest growing economies in the world. Every single large institution of the world, be it in US or be it in China or in Canada or UK, are looking to invest in India. As I said in my presentation, we are fortunate to be Indians and get in an access to Indian market. So Indian market is a great market where you get great returns. Should that mean that you should not invest into international markets? You can still continue to invest some amount of money, which will be much lesser than what you would invest into India. You can contribute some money in international markets because that probably will give you a currency protection as well. But that can be a small part of your particular portfolio and not a very significant part is what I would recommend. I'll not be able to comment on any specific fund. I hope you understand.
Right. There's one more question that you said that people who save will make wealth faster or better in the future. What amount or what percentage of money earned should go into saving?
A very good question, but as I said, there is no right answer. So a driver of an Uber car, if he earns 30,000 rupees or 40,000 rupees in a city like Bombay, and he's able to save 10,000 of rupees out of that, which means, I'll tell you a very important thing here, Priydarshan. Saving has nothing to do with your earnings. And you'll be surprised on what this statement I'm making. Saving has nothing to do with your earnings. It is everything to do with your attitude. There are people who earn 10 lakh rupees a month and they're still not able to save. And there are people who earn 40,000 rupees a month or 30,000 rupees a month and they're still able to save. So what you have to do, again, हमारे बुजुर्गों ने कहा है, जितनी चादर उतना पांव फैलाओ. Depending on your earnings, you should spend. You should save a chunk of your earnings for your future. And you have a future where you will not be able to earn, but you will need money. So there is no fixed percentage. But anybody who starts his career at a young age and he says, abhi nahi, abhi to main young hu, baad mein I will save, he'll never be able to save. Right? You have to save every time you earn. And fortunately, the basics of life, roti, kapda aur makan itna महंगा nahi hai. You can very well take care of that and save money. The problem is our luxuries. The problem is our big cars. The problem is our big holidays, the expensive branded watch and the expensive branded shoes, which is something we have to prioritize and put below our savings. So savings have to come first. When you earn 100 rupees, depending on how much you're earning, take aside 20 rupees, 30 rupees, 40 rupees out of that towards your long-term saving, and then spend the rest 50, 60 rupees is my advice.
Right. So we'll take 2, 3 more questions.
Sure.
And probably there will be no end otherwise. Is a question from Sonal Mane. And she wants to know that which SIP plans are best for investment for women.
I'm so happy you've taken a question from Sonal. At last, we have a lady asking a question. That's good and nice. Sonal, there are no separate plans for women. So when it comes to investment, the schemes are similar for women, which is there for men. But as I said during my talk, women need to know about investment. Women need to save more. Women need to have a bigger corpus for their retirement, because women tend to live longer. Generally, that's my belief. I may be wrong. You can challenge me. But that's what my belief is, that women tend to live longer. So they need to save more. So similar schemes which are available for men, very well applicable for women as well. And you should have a handle of your own finances is my advice to you.
Yes, and I would endorse that. Money does not have gender, so you can invest anywhere. Okay, one more question from Mr. Hiral Bhatt. Is it advisable to invest in small upcoming units, or it is advisable to invest in established units or companies?
I presume this is talking about schemes. So should one invest?
Maybe shares.
Units would mean schemes, I would
Maybe
guess. Okay, so if the
Yeah,
question...
I think she's companies he is talking. I think he is talking about companies.
No, I think it's coming out of that NAV question, 10 rupee versus whether you should invest.
Maybe.
So if your question is whether you should invest into a new scheme which is being launched or launched just now, or something which has a track record, I would say a mutual fund scheme with a track record is always better, unless that the new scheme is a new kind of a theme and the fund manager is experienced. So what matters the most is the fund manager. Of course, schemes have a track record that also helps. And as I would say, we are blessed that at a very nominal cost, we have fantastic fund managers in the mutual fund industry in India who have delivered phenomenal returns. I mean, if I tell you, so many households have been able to fulfill their dreams, चाहे बच्चे को फॉरेन पढ़ने भेजना था या बच्ची की शादी करना था, lots and lots, millions of dreams have been fulfilled by investing simply into mutual fund scheme and sticking with discipline to the schemes. That would be what I would say.
Okay. One very important question. Now, I think everybody is seeming to be very interesting and thinking about making money. And I think experts and to know more. So are there any newspapers or sites or any place or source of knowledge where you can actually concentrate on for especially finance and wealth creation?
There are lots of them. But as I said earlier, my advice to all the doctors is that for you, your time invested into your profession is the best. So if you have to at all read about your profession, because that will give you more money, and leave this reading for people like us, people who are doing financial planning. So see, again, I cannot become a doctor by reading even for a full day. My brother has some ailment. I've done a lot of research. I've read several articles on Google. But even if I've read 50 articles, I don't think I'm even 1% of what the specialist doctor in that field is. Same thing. If you will read 10, 20, 30 articles and would trying to take decisions based on that, that may not be, because what you need is the knowledge of finance, along with that, the experience and a constant updation, because there's so many things which are changing, right? So I would say stick to your advisor and your given domain field. I mean, I have my doctors who are so busy that I can understand, they switch from one cabin to other cabin, saving every minute so that they can treat more patience. So utilize your time most out there is what I would say. And that's such a noble profession as well. You will helping people as well.
Great. Last two more questions.
Sure.
Radhika Jindal, she's asking, what is the difference between SIP and STP?
Oh, very good question. Fantastic question, Radhika. Thank you for asking this question. So like in SIP, a fixed sum of money each month moves from your bank account to your investment account. STP is systematic transfer plan, where a fixed sum of money can move from your investment account to your bank account every month, right? So how it works? For example, you start an SIP at the age of say 25 and you continue doing an SIP till the age of 60, where you kept moving money from your saving account, you kept earning through your practice in your saving account or through your salary in your saving account. And each month, some part of money was going into your mutual fund scheme. At the age of 60, you stop practicing and now you need money. So from your investment account, you fix a set amount that, okay, I need 1 lakh rupees on 1st of every month. That money from your investment account will be moved to your saving account on the 1st of every month. And that is called systematic transfer plan. So SIP is for investing and creating corpus. STP is taking out of that corpus for your needs on a regular, consistent basis.
And one last question.
Sure.
This is from John. He's asking, can I invest a big amount together in an SIP instead of monthly small amount premiums?
Okay, so when we invest in a single tranche or single installment, that's called lump sum investments. And when you invest each month regularly, that's called SIP. So you can invest lump sum also. There always the question comes, is it a right time to invest? And nobody knows. Trust me, nobody knows that whether the market will continue to go up or the market will have corrections. So one can do is, that is the reason we choose the systematic transfer plans. Sorry, I explained systematic withdrawal plan earlier. I made a mistake. I explained systematic withdrawal plan. Systematic transfer plan is, Radhika, I explained systematic withdrawal plan, SWP. STP is that you invest a sum of money in liquid fund, and from there, a fixed sum of money is moving into equity scheme. So if you have a large sum of money and you're not sure today is the right time to invest into equity, then you put that money into a liquid scheme, which is an equivalent to your saving bank scheme. And from there, every month, a fixed sum of money will go to an equity scheme, and that is called STP, systematic transfer plan. And what I explained to you, the withdrawal plan earlier, was systematic withdrawal plan. My apologies, I missed on that.
Yeah, okay. So I think knowledge has no end and questions will never end, definitely. First of all, we thank you very much for at least invoking that investor in us and invoking that person in us who would go for a lot of saving now to create wealth. And I think this can be a starting of a different type of a life, or a different type of risk mitigation starts here, which will prepare me for a better tomorrow. Thank you very much, Mr. Deepak Mehta. And I know throughout this journey of 8 seminars, we would have you again. So if you have more questions, you have already noted his number, his Twitter handle, and even his email ID. And you can write to us. You have email facility on our site also. And you can definitely put your questions to us. We will love to answer them and love to clarify all doubts which come to your mind so that you can be an avid investor. So thank you very much. Let me bring this session to an end. And do not forget, you will keep getting reminders for the next session, which is on 27th. And this time we have Mr. Ambrish Baliga, who is a professional, SEBI registered professional, and he would guide us on equities as a subject. So Mr. Mehta has just touched upon equities as one of the options, and this time we'll go deeper into equities.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for being there with us. And you're saying something.
Thank you, Priydarshan, and thank you, McLeod Pharma, for giving me this opportunity. Talking to professionals like doctors and teachers and our army people is always a great pleasure. This is a great noble profession, and I'm indebted to all of you. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, Priydarshan, and thank you, Sanjeev and McLeod.
Right. See you then. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Let's meet again on 27th. Thank you.
Thanks.